Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be reviewing Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. This is the final Lord of the Rings movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy before the Hobbit trilogy came out. And at the time, this was a huge thing. I remember when the last Lord of the Rings movie was coming out, Lord of the Rings was a huge event. And the fact that The Hobbit doesn't feel that way, I think says something. But then again, The Hobbit wasn't really as big and popular as a book as The Lord of the Rings was. The Hobbit was a one-time children's book. And from my understanding, J.R. Tolkien was going to continue the story, but after he finished The Hobbit, he realized how much older his audience was getting, and he wrote the Lord of the Rings books more for adults than kids, because the Hobbit book did start off for kids. And you can kind of see that in the Hobbit films, but Peter Jackson, he keeps the same tone in the Hobbit films. But let's talk about Return of the King right now, because this is not about the Hobbit, this is about Return of the King. And I don't want to get sidetracked like I would normally, so let's talk about Return of the King. First, let's talk about Gollum. I think Gollum, played by Andy Serkis, is amazing in this movie. People forget that this was the first time motion capture was really used to its advantage. And Andy Serkis is the pioneer of motion capture for a reason. He played Gollum, and he plays it really well. Especially in Return of the King, you can really see how well it's utilized. There are times you can really see Andy Serkis in that performance as Gollum. Now, once again, for those of you that don't know what motion capture is, which you should know by now because it's been around for more than 10 years, motion capture is when an actor's performance and facial expressions are enhanced into the computer. They'll usually put on a gray suit. Sometimes there'll be spots on their faces, or sometimes a camera, a close-up, a special camera will be attached to them that will film their facial expressions. There's many different ways I think they do it, and the special effects guys will later get that stuff into the computer, their images and their body movements, and they'll just put on a digital costume, if you will, that will, make it look more prettier. But it's all the actors' movements and their performance, their facial expressions that are still on screen that you see. So that's why a lot of people champion it to be included into the Academy Awards. That's why a lot of people want Andy Serkis right now to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, because it really is something that a lot of people don't understand yet, that this is the actor's performance. So when you watch Return of the King, you'll see a lot of Andy Serkis in Gollum, which is really cool. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are back in this one again. Again, some of my favorite characters in this film franchise. And my only problem with it is, though, you can tell they aren't in it as much as they were in the Two Towers. But that's fine, because we still have Gandalf, who is another one of my all-time favorite characters in this franchise. And Ian McKellen is just, natural for it.
No news of Frodo. No word. Nothing. We have time. Every day Frodo moves closer to Mordor. Do you know that? What does your heart tell you? That Frodo is alive. Yes. Yes, he's alive.
And Gandalf, he definitely has the best lines in this entire franchise. If you go through all the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies, Gandalf is always given the best lines and the best speeches, which is which is really cool. You know, Ian McKellen, he must be happy having that character under his belt. He does a really great job, and you feel the warmth of Gandalf, but you also feel how badass he can be sometimes. Speaking of some of the best speeches in film, Aragorn, to me, this is his moment to shine as well. All the characters get their moment to shine, but one of my favorite movie speeches in war speeches, I guess, in movie history is in this movie, and it's delivered by Viggo Mortensen, Aragorn.
Sons of Gondor! Of Rohan! My brothers! I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. An hour of woes and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West!
Merry and Pippin also get their time to shine. Merry and Pippin, you know, started as these characters that were made more for comedy relief in the first film. The second film, you start to see them enhance more, especially Merry. Merry, I think, really shines a little bit more than Pippin. But in this one, you get to see Pippin now step front and center, because he goes with Gandalf to Gondor. And so Merry and Pippin are split for the first time, so you get to see them both deal with situations without one another, when they, you know, they've always been relying on one another, and this is the one where they are split and they have to do things on their own now, which makes them, in my opinion, grow even more as characters. And Pippin especially, since he's the one dealing with Denethor and Faramir, and you know, Gandalf's with him, but then he gets even split from Gandalf, and he's trying to save Faramir from his father, who's trying to burn Faramir because he thinks he's dead and he's going insane. And it's just like, this movie is great for drama, for everything, and the actors all really pull their weight. The action, the special effects, the score, everything in this movie is perfect. One thing that I wish they would have kept in this movie is in the extended version. You can catch it in the extended version also, because in this movie, in the theatrical release, Saruman, played by Christopher Lee, is not in this film. He is only seen in the extended version, and to me, it was a really cool scene to show what happened to Saruman. Now, I know they deleted it because they didn't think it was that important. They do mention him very briefly, Saruman, in the theatrical version, but if you watch the extended version, you really see what happens. You get closure to Saruman. To me, when you watch the theatrical version, you don't get that closure. It feels like incomplete, like there's someone running around out there, an evil wizard who's just trying to kill you in the last two films, and you guys aren't going to make sure he's, you know, stopped for good. If you watch the extended version, you'll get that closure. Frodo and Sam are once again in this movie trying to make it to Mount Doom and throw the ring finally into the fire, you know, the lava pit. And what can I say about Frodo and Sam? I enjoy them a lot more in The Two Towers. This movie, they go back to what they were in The Fellowship of the Ring. There's a lot of sappy moments with them, especially towards the end of the film. Gollum does split them up for a while, which is actually a lot of fun and interesting. Sam has his crying moment, though, and you want to yell at Sam and tell him, Sam, shut up, man up, and just leave. Who cares? Frodo's obviously a douche at this point, but Sam, you know, that friendship has to be strong, and I guess it should be that way, but to me, the way they play around with it is really sappy. I wish they would have found a way to not make Sam cry about it and just be like, fine, I'm out of here. I don't know, but like, Gollum is really devious in this film than he was in the last film. In the last film, you actually feel sorry for Gollum at one point. In this movie, you don't feel sorry for Gollum at all, but he's still such a great character because he's ruining Sam and Frodo's friendship. But obviously, good prevails evil, and Sam and Frodo make amends, and they go to that mountain finally. But once they get there, things drag. This is during the final battle. Everybody is on the ground, you know, having their battle with Sauron's army. And Frodo and Sam are the ones that are struggling to run up the mountain before it's all too late. So it's like a ticking clock in that sense. And they really play the ticking clock thing really slow. Like, they keep falling and interruptions keep happening, and it just gets so frustrating, especially when you know it's at the end of the movie. Like, this is the climax, and the movie knows that you know. And you just want them to just throw the damn ring in the fire, in the lava, and destroy it once and for all. But instead, they keep struggling and struggling and struggling. It's just so annoying. But it is the end of the movie, so I don't know. And finally, let's talk about the bajillion endings we had. To me, if I was going to end Return of the King, I would have ended after everyone had bowed down to Frodo and the other hobbits. It was in Gondor. Aragorn had just become king. He met his wife again, you know, Arwen, played by Liv Taylor. And the whole kingdom bows down to the hobbits. That got me, you know, all teary-eyed. And to me, that's what would have been the perfect moment to end the movie. But the movie decided to have like 3 or 4 more endings and drag it on a bit to like really give closure to all these characters. And once again, it's fine. I get why they were doing it, because to please the fans of the books who wanted to see all of that. And it was a nice way to end Bilbo's story also, especially now with the Hobbit movies coming. It really helps Bilbo's closure to his story too. So I can understand why they do it, especially now with the Hobbit out. It makes perfect sense. And the endings are fine too. And even the one that I would have cut out for sure though is probably after Frodo and Gandalf ride off into the sunset on the boat. I would have cut it there. That's where it should have ended, because that part after with Sam and the narration of Frodo narrating, to me that was dragging it even more than you guys were already dragging it. I would have just cut it. If you wanted to drag it out a little bit more, I would have stopped right where they left off in the boat, and that was it. But, you know, I get it. Pleasing the fans, I guess, right? Because to me, we already knew that Sam had already gotten married, and we got the message of the movie, and we got the story, but I don't know. That's just the way they did it. Final thoughts, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, despite some of the long, dragged out scenes at the end of the film, because for a good majority of the movie really flows smoothly, and it really is a lot of fun. And I get why they were dragging it out a little bit at the end to give real closure to all those characters and to please the fans of the books. It's hard, I guess, to do a movie where you're trying to please the fans of the books and you're trying to please the general audience like me. And but I think there's a lot of people that are understanding, and that the Lord of the Rings books are very popular for a reason. Look, as long as you come up with a really good movie, the ending, I think a lot of people will forgive you for some of the long parts, and they're not that long where it feels like they don't drag on for an hour, you know. It's like maybe a 20-30 minute ending after they throw the ring into the lava pit. 20 to 30 minutes, I say. So that's not that long, but it is long. Where you feel like they should have just wrapped it up a little bit quicker, but it's all fine, and it doesn't ruin the movie, in my personal opinion. Even the extended version has a lot of great moments. The extended version, thankfully, doesn't drag the ending. So if you're worried about the extended version dragging the ending even more, you actually don't have to worry about that. They don't drag it at all. The ending is exactly how it is in the regular theatrical version. So yeah, guys, go check out Return of the King. It's an awesome film. The Lord of the Rings trilogy in general is a great trilogy. One of my favorite trilogies of all time. Definitely one of my top 3 favorite trilogies. And yeah, guys, so, The Hobbit, the final Hobbit movie is coming out soon. Will it be like the Return of the King of the Hobbit films? Who knows? But the Hobbit movies have been doing really good so far that I'm totally looking forward to seeing how they end Middle Earth. So until next time, guys.